Couple of things I noticed today. Wanted to ask you guys about it. And let's talk about listings for a second. Where do you price your listings? How do you figure out the price for your listings? Nobody has any ideas. Did we just throw a number out there and hope it sticks? So we do comparables. How else? I watched a really brief video from fearlessagent.com. Um, has a whole different take on it, but we all do market analyses, right? Let me do a CMA for you. If you ever say CMA to the client, you should get hit upside the head because they have no idea what that means, right? I'd like to do a comparative market analysis on your home. Doesn't that mean something more than, hey, would you be open to a CMA? I don't know. Does it require surgery? You don't know what it means, but be careful. But I've noticed a ton of pricing as I was looking at our listings today. If you price your property at 459 or at 449, what kinds of audiences are you going to get on those listings? What will they look like? It's not racist though, because the numbers don't lie and numbers don't care about your feelings. Um, no, but stop and think about it. How do people search on the MLS? Excuse me, or they search on the internet? They search by price. And how are the prices broken down? Typically by 25 or $50,000 increments. So if I may, I'm just going to throw this out. If you price it at 549.9, 549,999, you'll get anybody that's looking between 5.25 and 550, right? But if you price it at 550, you'll get people that are looking from 5.25 to 575. Or as you get into higher price points, they break it up by $50,000 increments. But you can get two pools of fish instead of one just by pricing it. A lot of times we will say it's $499 instead of $500 because we think, oh, it sounds better and people will feel better because they're not paying $500 for a house. But you're going to miss anybody that's looking from 5 to 5.25 if you price it at $499. Does that make sense? It's just a pricing strategy. Then this is a script. Are you ready for it? Dear seller, Alicia, may I use you? Alicia, have you ever seen a house sell for less than list price? Ever? You have. Oh my goodness. And John, have you ever seen a house sell for more than list price? Then would it make some sense that maybe our list price doesn't really mean that much? We need to price it, I think, in the right neighborhood, but the market's going to be determined by the buyer and the seller on what's an acceptable price. Anyway, I would rather have more fishies looking at my listing than fewer fishies. So just a thought as you price your listings. It's a pricing strategy. Anyway, throwing that out. Wanted to talk really quickly about earnest money. Last week, we went into a little bit of depth about earnest money because, again, please do not operate heavy equipment after talking about earnest money, okay? But once it's deposited, it's our responsibility. A lot of times we get fire drills, and I get fire drills. Just by way of information, Charlize is gone for 6 weeks. She's doing an internship. I know there's whining and cleaning up here, so sorry. Crocodile tears. However, it typically takes us about 24 hours to turn it around. Please don't say, it's 10 o'clock and I need that check by 11, because it's not going to happen. We have somebody offsite actually handling that. We'll print the checks here. Sadly, this week has been doubly fun because Novali's out of town. She'll be back Thursday, maybe. So anyway, the best way to do it is let us know immediately once a contract has fallen out or earnest money needs to be moved, whether it needs to be returned to the buyer, it needs to be forwarded to the seller, it needs to be held on to. We'll hold it for the next purchase because they canceled on a contract. Would you let me know right away? Send me a note in command, then I can send out the instructions. Ideally, what we will do is we will have the check prepared within 24 hours and it will be at the front desk. We'll let you know via command. Command is the mothership. We put people in the mothership. We handle all of our contracts in there. But one thing I put in there, I said, in my last note here, immediately notify Dean. The reason why I say that is I've had some where the buyer canceled back, here we are in May, buyer canceled in January. And now they decided they want their money back because they've been looking, they haven't found what they wanted. And I'll say, great, where are the docs? And where's all of the information that I can make a decision? I can't release earnest money without documents. Does that kind of make sense? So if you let me know right now, that way I can find out, I can let you know if there's some pieces missing in that. I've had contracts where it says, well, you tell me. Earnest money becomes non-refundable at due diligence. Okay, so the buyer has waived their appraisal and their financing conditions. Then I'm getting calls from another brokerage saying, hey, why aren't you sending us over the earnest money? Amber, why would I not send them earnest money? Say again? Yeah, they're not entitled to it. It's non-refundable at due diligence, but they're not entitled unless there's an instruction somewhere in there that says earnest money will then be forwarded on to the seller. Does that make sense? I won't release earnest money unless if it's not part of the contract. Anyway, I know it's crazy. I think it's best to deposit earnest money with KW Westfield's trust account because your broker who's a control freak will have control over the earnest money and how we use it. I promise you I will not go to Wendover or Las Vegas to invest it. Okay? But the most important piece is that we can release it based on the REPC.
This is something that I just, when you know something, you know it in your gut, and you're trying to figure out how to relay it to other people in a way that they will then know and understand. But they asked me to speak with you about a principle that, again, I know. I feel like I came here, I came to Earth, and I just, this was just ingrained in my heart. And that is this idea of we can create our futures by what we believe and what we focus on. Has anyone heard of personal affirmations? Covey talks about it a lot. I love Tony Robbins focuses on it. We even, Gary Keller talks about it a lot. We have a lot of great, incredible resources. But I think this is one of those subjects where people, and myself included for a little while in my life, would look at personal affirmations and look at these, principles of belief manifesting your reality. How's it going? As something that was just kind of ethereal. It was something that it was something that was almost too easy to actually make happen. Does that make sense? Have you heard this? Yeah? Okay. So how do I switch slides? You'll just do it? That would be great. Oh, let me just tell you, my daughter put this together. Super, super sweet because this is not my thing. So, yes. Okay, so this is my cute family. These are all little things. This is my lovely daughter and my son, my son-in-law that were just married, last week. So anyways, really fun. That's my grandbaby over there. That's me at work. That's a horrible picture of me on site with somebody. Okay, we'll keep going. So as we go through this, and as I just take you through my journey, I'm going to tell you my story, and I'm going to get really, really real. And not everything I'm going to tell you about this journey for me is going to be super flattering, but I don't know any other way to talk to you about this principle that's so important to me without just getting super real. So as we go through this, I want you to keep this question in your mind. What do you want to be? Better yet, who do you want to be? What do you want your life to look like? Not just professionally, personally, emotionally, spiritually, physically, financially, all the ways. What do you want to be? So I want you to keep that in your mind. And if something comes to you like, ooh, I want to be a master chess player. If that comes to your mind, write it on down. Okay, that is not on my list. All right, next slide, please. Okay. So back in 2019, 19, my eldest daughter was getting ready to get married. And we were living in Colorado at the time. And I had been a stay at home mom for 20 plus years, 5 kids. I loved that. Okay. Every second of being a mother has been, honestly, it has been so enriching and so great for my heart. But money was super tight at that time for our family. My husband was working a million hours. Things were super tight financially. And then my daughter comes to us with the best news. I'm getting married. And we were like, that's so great. And again, the first thought that came was, ooh, we don't have a lot of extra here. We're really, living very much paycheck to paycheck. And it's kind of an intense moment. And I was like, well, we had just newly adopted a baby a couple of years before, so he was little, and I was like, oh, I don't want to leave him, I don't want to go off to work a full-time job. Besides, what would I do anyways? I don't feel qualified to do much. And at the time, I decided to sign up for a Rover account. Has anyone ever seen those? Okay, so Rover is like this awesome app that you can sign up for as a dog watcher. And during that time, I was like, well, I have this house with a beautiful yard. I'm just going to watch all these dogs. So I'm not kidding. Within like a year and a half, I watched 57 different dogs multiple times and some all together at the same time. So my house was like, okay, mania. It was crazy, but it was so incredibly important for me. I just fell in love with these dogs. But I ended up earning enough money, not a ton, but I scraped together enough money to help pay for my daughter's wedding, which was a huge deal, but it was like scraping. I mean, honestly, guys, at like $25 a day, $30 a day, it was scraping. But we did it. And I became a dog lover, and I fell in love with that process. Okay. So right before we left Colorado, I remembered of this principle that my mom had taught me years before, and referencing Covey and some of these others, talking about the power of personal affirmations. What you say out loud and what you believe is what literally determines your outcome, what determines your reality. And I was just sitting outside in our backyard, and I was thinking, wow, we made it through that wedding, whew. And then this thought came to my mind. What do you want your life to look like? And at the time, I was going through a lot of just emotional ups and downs and a lot of just kind of soul searching. And we were struggling financially, and there were some emotional struggles I was having. And I was like, what do I want my life to look like? And I remember I spread out this huge blanket in our backyard, and my kids were at school, and it was totally quiet, except for my youngest who was sleeping. And I got out a pen and paper, and I was like, what do I want to be? What do I want to be? And then, I'm not kidding, it was this moment of meditation and reflection, and for me, prayer. I was like, what do I want to be? And I'm not kidding. To my mind came a list of 10 items. And one of these items shocked me. No, actually two shocked me, because I had never considered real estate in my life. But as I pondered and thought and reflected and meditated, two things came that were relating to us. The first was, I am a top producing real estate agent. And I was like, well, that's really weird, because I'm not a real estate agent. Okay? Never considered selling real estate, ever. The second thing that came was, you won the Rookie of the Year award for real estate in the state of Utah. Okay, I wrote it down. I'm not kidding. Exactly like that. I wrote it down. I have won the Rookie of the Year award in real estate for the state of Utah, period. Like I wrote it like verbatim, word for word. And I looked down at my paper, and I thought, I have lost my mind, because we live in Colorado, and I am not a real estate agent, and I don't have any contacts in Utah. How on earth would something like this happen? But it was in such a state of reflection and meditation and prayer, and it just came out. And I know enough about this process to know that when you have this moment of quiet and the whole world gets really still, and you allow yourself that stillness to really reflect for several minutes that when those thoughts come, my opinion, they are not your own. Okay. And you need to act on them. So I wrote that down. Next thing I know, I've spoken with my husband, my family. We're making plans. Our house is on the market and we're moving to Utah. Sure enough, we sold a house in Colorado. We moved on to Utah. I had these affirmations in my hot little hand, and we got here to Utah. And I'd been here about 2 months, and I'm walking through my kitchen in this little rental. I think you can turn to the next slide. And I was thinking about this, and all of a sudden it was like this thought: I need to get my real estate license. I was like, I don't want to. I don't know anybody here in Utah. I don't know. Then the thought came again: get your real estate license. And I was like, oh crap, I don't want to. Crap, I'm so scared. I have all these things, all these reasons, and to my mind came all the reasons that I was going to fail at this job. All the reasons. You haven't worked. You don't know what you're doing. Who do you know? You don't know anyone. You're new. All the reasons. And this was my first picture. I looked terrified because I was so scared, and I had less wrinkles then too, but I was terrified. I was so afraid of failing, afraid that maybe this principle of affirmations wasn't true. Somewhere I was scared to death. I'm not kidding. It's totally scared. My husband said, well, just make sure you're going to spend $1,000 getting licensed. Just try to earn that back. That was the only thing he said. And I was like, okay. So we got this picture taken, my first, totally freaked out. And then I remembered, again, I had written down these affirmations. So here's the key to the affirmations. I had pondered, I had reflected, I wrote them all down. Then I had learned through Covey and through Tony Robbins that it's not enough to just think, ponder, write them down. You have to speak them out loud in the I am and present language. So I am a top producing real estate agent. I am confident. I am whatever you want to be. I am a dog lover. I mean, whatever that is. I love pancakes, whatever, but you have to speak it out loud, and 5 times at least, each item 5 times a day. It is a true principle. I promise it does work. It sounds like I'm nuts. I'm not. So next, you can probably go. Okay. So this is a quote I love from Buddha. He said, what you think, you become. What you feel, you attract. What you imagine, you create. So I had my little list of affirmations. I'm saying them. I'm going through this, and I'm realizing that I don't have any contacts. I don't have anything. I don't know what to do. I don't know where to go. I got signed up with KW South Valley because I have a friend who was helping run that office at the time. And I did all the training. I'm figuring things out. Then I have a friend who was a part of a home building company. And I said, "Ooh, great. Can I list one of your luxury homes?" It was like a $3.5 million luxury listing. He looked at me and he said, "No." He said, "No, I'm so sorry. You don't have any experience. I think you're great, but you don't have any experience." And I was like, "Well, how do I get experience?" He's like, "I don't really know. This isn't my thing." And I was like, crud. So then he said, "If you bring me a buyer for one of our luxury homes, you find a buyer from somewhere, scrape a buyer together, I'll give you a shot and let you list a listing." So I set to work. He had a couple of leads, people who had just kind of signed in on his website, were mildly interested in some of their stuff. He's like, "Here's a couple of people that might be interested." I brought him a buyer. Here's the ironic part about that story, though. I brought him this buyer. We have this great experience. The buyer's like, "Yeah, I'm in. I want to build with you. This is going to be great." My friend is like, "Dang, Alicia can actually sell things." And then the buyer says right at the end, "Oh, hey, I have an agent who's my cousin. So you can't represent me on the buyer's side, Alicia, but I have an agent who's a cousin." And I was like, no. But it was enough because my friend that was part of this home building company said she brought us a buyer. Even though I didn't know enough at that time to ask, is there someone who, you normally represents you, or somebody that that's helping you with something? I didn't know. But at the time, it was enough because I at least had that in with him. So then I started listing various things. Oh, yeah, you can skip this one. My first sign. Okay. Whether you think you can or you think you can't, you're right. Who's heard this? Yeah? Now, let me ask you a hard question. Who here has ever thought, for even for a second, that you can't do this job? Has anyone thought that? Am I the only? Good. Has anyone ever had those doubts come so hard at you that you've wanted to run? Yeah. And this job, as you know, is a high fail job percentage wise, right? People fail at this job, and you hear it over and over and over, all the statistics of all the people who fail. But I'm here to tell you that if you can shift your thinking into a belief, you believe that you are excellent at this job, that I promise you, you will be. I know you will be, because this is what has happened to me. So I continued with my affirmations. I tried to change my thinking a little bit. Started getting heavily into luxury new construction and land. And then pretty soon, as I got into this business, one of the coolest things in the world happened. I think you can get to the next slide here. Okay. So this picture is significant for me down here at the bottom. Ignore all this other stuff my daughter put together, but that picture there is significant. That was the end of my first year. And at the KW Awards, I won the Rookie of the Year award for the state of Utah for KW. Thank you. Thank you. I was so shocked that I won it, that after I won that award, I went to the bathroom, and shortly after the award ceremony, and I had set aside the awards just down so I could wash my hands, and I looked at them, and I looked in the mirror, and I was standing in the bathroom, and I probably looked insane. I just started crying, but it wasn't the award that I won, guys. That's not what did it. It was the fact that had been on my list of affirmations. That came to me long before I was in real estate. That phrase came to my mind before I was an agent, before I lived in Utah, before I knew anything about what Rookie of the Year was. I didn't even know that was a thing when it came to my mind. And I wrote it down, and I let myself believe. And you better believe that as I let myself believe those doubts, they did come. They came all the time. But when I held that award in my hand, and when I saw that award, I knew that personal affirmations are real. What we think and believe, we can create. It's not fictitious. It's not so hard. It's only hard because you believe it is. It's only painful and impossible if you believe that it's painful and impossible and hard. I am telling you, the universe somehow reorganizes itself according to our belief system. Has anyone ever heard that? Yes? It's true. If you believe that you are having a bad day, guess what? Every single thing in your day is going to go badly. You're going to have a bad day. If you believe that, yeah, you had a bump in the road, but today is getting better, and you believe it in your core and you say it out loud, then your day is going to get better. If you believe, no matter what, no matter how many listing appointments you miss out on, or listings you don't get, or closings you don't get, if you believe that you are a success, the universe is going to reorganize itself around that belief to manifest in your life. I know it's true. I've seen it, I've done it, I've lived it, I continue to live it. I will say this, buckle up though, because your life will change. It will. And not all those changes come easily. So buckle up, because again, we had to move from Colorado, sell our house we love so much. I became an agent that works 50, 60, sometimes hours a week. I mean, I'm busy, busy, busy. So your life will change. It will. And it will change in better ways, but the ways you create, right? Okay. Oh, okay. This was funny. A couple of years after I won the Rookie of the Year award, I was doing this again, where I was like pondering and praying and meditating of what do I want next to add to my affirmations. One of the things that came to my mind to add was that I would be able to teach and mentor and love other agents and teach these very principles. And I wrote it down. I am a mentor to other agents in real estate. I love helping other agents become successful. I'm a huge believer that there's enough real estate to go around for all of us to be crazy successful. Huge believer in that. So even me getting this assignment today and becoming a part of KW Westfield and the ALC, all of that was brought into my life because I wrote it down. And I believed that someday I was going to be a teacher, a leader, a mentor. Someday I'd be able to talk to people like you, who I admire, who outproduce me, many of you by a lot, but that someday I'd get this chance. That went on my list. So today is a manifestation of that, which is cool. Thanks, guys. You guys are way too nice to me up here ranting. But okay, so steps to create your affirmations. 1, clear your mind. Focus on possibility. 2, determine 5 ways you want your life to be. It doesn't have to be all work. It could be relationships. It can be peace in your life. It can be things like you have a great relationship with your kids, or a child that hasn't spoken to you in a while loves to come to you and loves to confide in you. It can be things like that. And I am telling you, whatever you feel inspired to write down, the universe will create in your life if you say it out loud and you believe it. Okay, step 2. So determine 5 ways. Step 3, state these 5 ways in the present tense. I am, I have. It's very important. Don't say, I hope I get a closing this week. What that tells the universe is you don't have it, and the universe is like a blank piece of paper. If you say to the universe, I hope I get a closing, the universe reads that as she doesn't have a closing. And guess who's not getting a closing that week? The person who believes and hopes that they're getting one. So instead say, I have a closing this week. I have successful transactions. I have a smooth transaction. I mean, with the transaction I dealt with yesterday, I asked for some help from some friends in this room to please help me, because the other day I was about ready to tear my hair out with this one transaction. So instead, I had to shift my thinking and reboot, and Dean helped. I think I cried. But we made it, and the transaction got back on track, and we were okay. So this is the way to do this. And I'll quit ranting here in just a minute. Oh, yep. Say each item out loud 5 times daily. This is super important. You have to say it. I am a top producing real estate agent. And while you're saying it, I want you to believe it. Let yourself dream. You know the dreaming we did when we were kids? The imagining, I could be an astronaut. Let yourself dream. Have that same thing. Then ask. This is super important for me. Meditate and ask, what can be done that day that will lead me to this? Just ponder on it. Think on it. Okay, I'm a top producing real estate agent. That means I need to be intentional with my time. That's what I need to do. I need to do whatever you feel, and then go and work. But I am telling you, the miracles that you will see are real. They are real. They are real. I have seen them in my life so many times. One of the things that has meant the most to me about KW Westfield in particular, is we have a culture of supporting each other. We have a culture of believing in each other. And the level of kindness and love that we have here is real. So if I can do anything for any of you to help you, please let me know. I'm so happy to do it. I don't know if we have any more of this. This may be it. Oh, when doubts come, do not dwell on them. Go forward as planned. This is, okay, hugely important. Like I said, you will get a barrage of doubts. You will. I promise you. You're going to look at this and be like, okay, I wrote down that I'm super fit. Oh, right? Or whatever that is. You're going to have doubts that come, and it's going to be like, that's not possible. You're not going to do that. You're not going to make that. This is not going to work. Alicia was crazy. You're going to have those things come. When they come, I want you to cast them aside. Just do it for a while. Don't dwell on those negative thoughts. They are not true, and they will only keep you from your potential. I promise that's true. And then, last step, you watch as your creations start manifesting in your life. And when you do, I want you to be so grateful, because there isn't a day that goes by that I am not so grateful that I decided to believe that something I wrote down at a piece of paper was actually possible for me. But I promise you that it is. And then every few years or months or whenever I feel prompted to, I rework my affirmations. We're constantly learning and progressing and growing, becoming who we need to become. But this is a success principle that, again, I would say at least 99% of people will hear and never do. They'll never do it because they don't believe that it works. But for the 1% of you that tries it and believes it, it will work. So if you need my help, if you have any additional questions or anything else, let me know. I don't know if there's anything else here. Ending tips. No need to compete. Yep. Law of attraction. Research that. That's huge. The law of attraction, you've all heard of this, I'm sure. No? Oh boy. Okay. So research the law of attraction. We are little magnets, guys. If you want to attract negativity and crappy, things into your life, just complain. Go ahead. Use it. You can have a vent session. Have a vent session. If you want to bring like a lot of bad yuckiness to your life, vent to other people about how crappy your life is. Do it. Watch. You'll get more of that. If you want to bring joy into your life, focus on joy. Talk of joy. Talk of gratitude. Talk of the people in your life that matter to you. Speak of the things that you love, and that will bring more love into your life, more success into your life. It's not like my cute daughter taught me. It's not a flex. You don't go around, I'm just the best in the whole world. Okay, no, all right. You could. But instead, you could just say, I'm grateful. I love the people in my life. I love my job. I love Dean. Talks me off a cliff. Thank you. And that's it. And then this was a picture I took, I need to re-up my pictures again. But this was a picture I took a year and a half ago. So to go from the scared, terrified version of myself to go to this little picture, I remember when I saw the original picture, I cried. I was like, oh, that poor soul. She is just so scared. So I just want to tell you, I'm grateful for this opportunity. I'm grateful to be in your lives. I'm grateful to be at this brokerage. I'm grateful for all of the incredible friends and associations that I have here. And if you need me, let me know.
All right.